Hey everybody, welcome back to Rules of Engagement, Mechanics of the Bazaar. You're on the fourth segment. Of course, if you just tuned into the show, the first three segments are great segments on some pretty cool builds. You can see them on the side of your screen there. Of course, we had a Thor push in TVP. We analyzed how that build might work, the build philosophy behind it, and different follow-ups to it. Of course, then we went on to a Mass Phoenix PvP, followed up with Nidus play from Lenok in ZVP. We have to go in the background right now, just put that replay on if you want to follow his exact build order. Catch these VODs later. Also, MLG.tv, where you find the VODs, you can also find the links to the replays if you want to find the, get in the replay and see their exact build order, build for build, what's going on there. The other important thing to think about is when you're watching these VODs, or if you're even watching a show, don't necessarily think about the build that I'm talking about. Think about the process that we're going through to think about potential counters to the build and the ideas behind it, and that'll help you construct your own cool builds, which is one of the most fun parts of StarCraft is coming up with cool builds of your own. So to get into the question and answer portion, we have a question from Adam, which is, using this build that Lenok did in ZVP, if your first Nidus is stopped, can this build ever work? And it's definitely, like for example, this last game, let's say if Oz just pulled probes and killed the Nidus off the bat, would it have worked if you didn't place it in a spot where it was hidden or they could see it? And the answer is you're at a pretty big disadvantage. The best way is to try to, you want to do two things at once. You want to convince them you're going to commit to that Nidus play and get them to be hyper defensive while you really are playing insanely greedy behind it, right? So what you do is you throw Nidus down the front of their base. They're going to hear that sound. They're going to freak out. But what you're doing is you're going to Nidus out one queen, spread creep from the front of their base. That way they're locked down to two bases. Put creep on a third or fourth, etc. They're locked down to two bases. Then meanwhile you're going to be cranking out drones like crazy. Hopefully you're on a map with a lot of corner bases. Because even though you're cranking out drones, because of your huge economic disadvantage, you're going to be behind economically. You're not going to mount a force that can fight them straight up in an engagement. So your next plan is to prepare for a base race. You can go Infestors, Mutas, Roaches, Hydras, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that as soon as they leave their base to attack you, you counterattack, you Nidus to different corners of the map, you mass expand, play a really fun base race game, utilizing Nidus in a different context so your opening wasn't wasted. This has been it for your Rules of Engagement episode. Please tune in tomorrow, Thursday, for our next episode, Community Critique.